It is Ryan Seacrest here. People always say it's good to unwind, but that's easier said than done. The exception, Chumba Casino. They actually make it easier done than said, or at least the same. Chumba Casino is an online social casino with hundreds of casino-style games like slots and blackjack. Play for fun. Play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Sign up now and collect your free welcome bonus at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
Cinesmack contains spoilers of the spoiling type. If you don't want your spoilers spoiled, please turn back now. Otherwise, enjoy the show!
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence?
Ladies and gentlemen! Welcome to the main event! This is Cinesmack! And the winner is...
Hello, Cinesmacketeers, and welcome to bout number 132 of Cinesmack, the podcast about films by filmmakers. I am your host, Mike Keeler. Joining me tonight is our panel of award-winning judges. First, filmmaker and owner of Cheshire Moon Films, Tom, Poor People Are Crazy Jack. I'm eccentric, Haggis.
Hey, I'm here. This nose, this hair, this ridiculous chin.
Second, writer, actor, and director, Kyle. I could eat a peach for hours, fine.
I'm responsible for my own orgasms. That's my favorite quote from Speed.
Third, filmmaker and owner of Arizona Ink Studios, Andrew. It's okay if you need to. You go right ahead and vomit. Zoom out.
Why did I get that in the middle? If I were to let you suck my tongue, would you be grateful? Wait.
Fourth, filmmaker and owner of One Genome Short Productions. No more drugs for that man. Rowald.
If this podcast gets less than 50 downloads, it will explode.
Nice.
Wow.
All right, let's poke the monkey.
Ladies and gentlemen, SWAT team studs and two-faced terrorists, welcome to the main event. Tonight, two 90s action flicks go blow for blow in slow-mo. Who can't drive 55? And which will be transplanted into the winner's circle. In the first quarter, from 1994, written by Graham Yost, directed by Jan DeBart, starring Dennis Hopper, Sandra Bullock, and Keanu Reeves. Speed! In the second quarter, from 1997, written by Mike Word and Michael Collieri, directed by John Woo, starring Joan Allen, Nicolas Cage, and John Travolta. Face Off!
Oh. What can I say? 90s action movies. I love them. And I had a blast.
Like this anymore.
What's that?
They don't make them like this anymore.
They certainly, well, they kind of do. Kind of. But definitely not the big budget ones anymore. Yeah, holy cow. I used to watch both of these movies a lot on VHS. And, let's go ahead.
Wow, VHS.
Yeah.
That's saying something.
That is saying something. We're old. Well, except for Kyle. He's a youngin'.
You're all going to outlive me. Don't worry.
All right, let's start it off with our first round, which is writing.
So, Speed is a movie that I have revisited many, many times since it first came out. We saw it in theater, and now it's been a favorite of mine ever since adolescence, I guess. Face Off, I saw when it first came out, and I hadn't watched it since. It was kind of, I don't know, it seemed like it was really over the top. And so I just kind of pushed it off. Like, there were other movies when I wanted to watch Face Off, I always find something else that I wanted to watch more. And so going back and revisiting these, I assumed going into this that Speed was just going to walk away with it because I like it a lot, and Face Off wasn't because I didn't like it as much as a kid, which is funny that now that I'm approaching middle age or in middle age. What's middle age? I don't know. But if looking back on it, I really, really liked Face Off. And a lot of that is the writing. The story is ridiculous, but the story and Speed is ridiculous too. And so on there, I see them as kind of an even keel. But when you talk about the dialogue in Face Off is amazingly funny and over the top. And I absolutely loved it. And I thought the lines in Face Off, there's a couple in Speed. And the Mike used one of them, the poor people are crazy, I'm eccentric, is probably the best line out of both these movies. But Facebook has so many other movies. There are so many other lines that are just easily quotable. So I was surprised that I thought that I liked Face Off nearly as much as I did. And I think a lot of it, I don't even know if you can really judge these two movies based on story. Because both of their stories are kind of ridiculous, but Speed does get points for being a very simple story. I mean, it's not very complicated, and there's not very many obstacles from the start to the end. And when the obstacles come up, they just kind of keep outdoing themselves. Whereas Face Off, it just feels weird, but Face Off feels like it's more established in the real world in the way that the problems that come up are more basic, where it's just like I just need to get to a safe house, and now I just need to get to my wife and warn her, and how am I going to do that with this voice and this face? And it's I don't know, I think Face Off is way better than I gave it credit for.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because I think I kind of felt the same way when I was younger. I'm not sure I was a huge fan of Speed when I was younger. I enjoyed it. It was fun to watch. And I also I remember really enjoying Face Off, but the whole time thinking this is ridiculously over the top. It's the whole John John Woo aesthetic is really way over the top. But I think one of the things that's lacking in the writing of both of these is any kind of meaningful character development. I'm not sure it's important for these kinds of movies, but there are none of the characters that really have any kind of depth to them at all. It's all very kind of surface stereotype, kind of character development. But the concepts are way over the top, which makes it very interesting and fun to watch. I don't know, and some of the dialogue, it's not Quentin Tarantino level dialogue in Face Off, but it's pretty good dialogue in Face Off. There isn't a lot of dialogue, quotable stuff in Speed necessarily, but that's not really what it's about. It's more about the action. So.
I mean,
I thought working in Face Off into the script when he says Face Off, it was forced. I think the movie would have benefited. It would have gone up like a quarter star if they had not tried to do that part.
Yeah,
you didn't like the gesture that went with it.
No, I didn't.
Face waterfall.
The face pet.
Later for acting that annoyed the shit out of me.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, and that may come back to writing a little bit. It's like I think they were trying to create some sort of a. Thank you, Tom. They may have been creating some sort of a quirk that would identify that character, even if he didn't look like himself. But I think they could have done better. I felt like it was a little bit lazy, and it was just this weird thing to do, to kind of like pet somebody's face.
Yeah, if I did that to my wife, she'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, stop it!
Yep.
Don't
You know I hate that."
All right. What the fuck are you doing?
Oh, you're not
It's
Tom.
funny you
You're actually
mention
Kyle.
Oh no. It's funny you mention that because after the movie, Heather mentioned to me how much she thought that was stupid. So for the rest of the night, I did it every time I walked past her, and she got more and more progressively annoyed.
That is fantastic.
So I don't think it's really a thing that would have any legs. Joan Allen doesn't seem like she's a bundle of fun. I can't assume that she's enjoying a lot of face waterfalls. Sometimes we. That's what I call it. That's what it looks like, right? Making like a waterfall in your face. Sometimes we talk about whether or not this podcast is Cine Agree because we tend to agree on a lot of things. But I can tell you, I couldn't disagree with you guys more. Face Off is a terribly written movie with very poor realism in any sense of the word, even for a sci-fi action type movie. And the dialogue is god-awful and terribly performed. I hate it. I hate it a lot. So anyways, Speed is a very simple... Yeah, there are good things about it. Don't get me wrong. We'll get to that. But as far as writing, that is not the strong suit of this film. Speed is a very simple story. It literally is like an elevator or bottle episode where you're like, get on the damn bus and everything happens on the bus after that. But it's much more thought out. Face Off, to me, is a movie based around some writer doing a lot of cocaine and realizing that the word face off could mean you take someone's face off. And then they just like, that's a movie, and they stop there. And that's what really bugged me about it. Was like they put almost no effort into creating a believable story or characters you'd root for. They even go as far as to try to make you like root for Castor Troy because he got Gina Gershon knocked up, despite the fact that he's killed probably thousands or millions of people. So yeah, really, really stupid. Moving on.
For fantastical 90s action movies, these two are the stereotypical of that genre, hands down. They are both just over the top, insane situations that are high adrenaline. I can't say that I could ever hate a movie that ends with Sandra Bullock telling me that the sex has to determine if the relationship is good. That to me makes the movie. But regardless, I actually agree with Kyle. I thought Face Off was so dumb. The dialogue is so cheesy. It's so crappy. They say stupid stuff. It's just even like John. Well, we'll get into the director later. There are scenes that are just like so bizarre and things that are said that just don't make sense. It's like, what? No one says that shit. Like, it's just. Sorry for this one. I absolutely agree with Kyle. I think it was very poorly written. It's just, yeah. I want to know where their scars are, by the way. And I mean, they're way ahead of their time with their fake technology.
Yeah, they had.
That was quite amazing that they came up with all of that. So I'll give it, a nudge in the right direction. It was pretty fantastical.
I thought it was great that they had that face suction cup.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they it was very creative in some of the scientific things that they did. But I mean, even like Kyle said, is with the kid, like he even looked like Sean's kid, and it was trying to pull at her heartstrings. I was like, oh my God, this is stupid. Like, who thought that was okay? No.
I think one of the other things too. I mean, if I'm going to bash on Face Off, here we go. If I'm not mistaken, he sets the bomb up and then says something about, hey, this is going to go off in 6 days, but they set the bomb for 216 hours, which isn't 6 days, it's 9 days. And I was just like, that seems to be like a really easy thing to catch. Like, at any point did somebody look at it and be like, dude, you set it for 3 days after it's supposed to go off. So it's a minor thing, but yeah, so 216 hours is 9 days, not 6.
We had to also, get some sort of boobies in there, so they had to do animated ones with there was just so many, it was like a bunch of really cool high school kids had this really neat idea, and they're like, let's just do it. It was just awkward.
Well, all the budget and time in this movie was focused on the stunts.
The gun.
Oh,
and the
let
gunplay.
me talk about this. The scene at the end with the boat and the two
No.
What?
That's for directing.
You save that for another category.
All right.
Don't put
We'll
that
get there. We'll get there.
Don't let
Sorry,
it go, though.
my brain is just piercing with the evilness of the face-off in the brain stemmy. That was a
Those
quote.
stones weren't. Yeah, that sounds like it.
One
I
of
want to take his face off.
One of the things I want to say about both the movies is that a lot of times really bad action movies, when you watch them, there's a lot of those moments where you just go, why don't they just X, Y, and Z? Like, there's usually this very obvious solution to this problem. Both of these movies do a pretty good job of avoiding those little landmines out there. They put in just enough of the, they gave the script enough thought to basically, point out the things that, to skip over those things that could, be like huge plot holes. So, I mean, I have to give credit for them. And there's a ton of movies that we have forgotten about from the 90s do that. These movies are still known today by people who watch movies because, they're not, horrible plot-wise. So
I'll give you plot holes. Their faces have been swapped. Their bodies are not. They still have the same bodies. Their dicks, their butts, their nipples, their wounds, their leg. I'm sorry, but they have
their wounds.
different.
No, they changed all that.
They
man.
changed
They
the
can do a
wounds.
complete swap.
He even said he said they could do it. They would make him slimmer and I want the scar back. So the wounds, go away. You wanted the scar back?
They did talk about the dumb scar. Yeah, okay, fine.
I would have gotten like a scar, like Scar from Lion King. I would have got a tattoo over it. Been like, this is my scar.
So
It's
the
also a
wife,
scar.
so the wife didn't realize that the dude was different in bed from the whole time that they'd been together.
He was different everywhere. Everything he did was different.
Right. So I don't know.
Yeah, they did not talk about their genitals.
Well, there's that deleted
what they
scene.
would do with the genitals.
There's the deleted scene in Face Off where Joan Allen takes a bath, and like masturbate. No, wait, that's Pleasantville.
Oh,
that's a different.
All right.
Yeah,
different movie.
Yeah, maybe it's the same character.
Maybe.
All right. Let's put it to a vote. Tom?
Face Off, of course.
Kyle?
I'll go with the one movie that obviously had writers. Speed.
Andrew?
Did you say writers or like riders, like on the bus?
Yeah, writers on the bus. That's what I meant.
Writers. Great stuff.
I'm gonna vote for the thing after a drug. So Speed.
And Gabe.
You vote for your movies based on drugs. Wonderful.
Don't do drugs, kid.
Face Off is fun, but way, way over the top. I'm going to go with Speed.
All right.
Y'all be straight tripping.
In the original script, the bomb was triggered to go off when the bus goes over 20 miles per hour. And the bus was supposed to circle around the parking lot of Dodgers Stadium.
Holy shit.
Like, that doesn't make any damn sense.
20
Okay, put it in park and everybody get off.
Yep.
20 miles an hour?
Yep. Bomb was triggered to go off when the bus goes over 20 miles per hour.
Was it actually originally a drama and not an action
don't know.
movie?
I don't know.
Because 20 miles? What?
Holy shit.
Careful, we're coming up on a school zone. Oh, no, you're fine.
around the parking park.
That's
It was
crazy.
supposed to circle around the parking lot of Dodger Stadium as opposed to LAX. However, the studio couldn't get the rights to film there.
Oh my God, that's the only reason this movie doesn't suck. Think of the action scenes you could get for a bus going 15 miles an hour.
And I know he's kind of a pariah nowadays, but Joss Whedon actually did a lot of the dialogue for Speed, uncredited. And that's what brought John DeBont and Keanu Reeves on board, was the revisions that he did. For Face Off, the original script was mostly set in the prison. The writers called it, quote unquote, Birdman of Alcatraz in the future. In it, some prisoners hung upside down from the ceiling by their boots with IVs collecting bodily fluids.
Wait, what?
It wouldn't have made the movie any weirder.
But it was supposed to be in the future.
It was.
Yeah,
It has to take place in the future.
right.
It's
None of
still-
this makes any sense.
Even futurer than now.
Yep. All right. Second round. Acting.
Let's start with Speed. Keanu Reeves, maybe one of the most inconsistent actors in history, can give really good performances, can give really bad performances. He's perfectly serviceable in this movie as an action star, and that's about the best you could say. Doesn't blow anybody's socks away. He delivers his lines. He's pretty good at action. Sandra Bullock is okay. I mean, she's very likable. That's one of the things about her that's great. She's easy to root for. And she does a fine job, too. Nobody's winning any Oscars here. Dennis Hopper, really good as a bad guy. I actually really liked him. I think he's just a good actor overall. But added a little legitimacy to this movie. Something that could have really been used in Face Off. But, man, again, you're not winning any Oscars for these movies, but I think Speed was pretty, adequately performed. Now let's talk about Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. I don't know what other movie you could point to and say, explain this acting to me, and you would have a longer conversation than this film. I don't know what planet Nick Cage is from. I don't know who told him he could be an actor. I don't know who didn't tell him no as a child to cause this plague upon our world. But he has the strangest acting style. And I know that he's capable of giving good performances because I've seen them. But somewhere along the line, people quit telling Nick Cage to stop doing things. And like a petulant, bratty child, he's like, well, if I'm going to get away with it, I'm just going to keep doing it. And he delivers probably one of the worst performances in a major feature film I've ever seen in my life in this movie. He is absolutely unhinged and unglued. Even when he is supposed to be John Travolta, he is terrible. Also, John Travolta is equally terrible. Not in a crazy, batshit, why is this happening way like Nick Cage is, but in a I can't believe you're a professional actor sort of way, where you're like, damn, you are so boring and wooden, and I hate your face, and you're bad at this. Stuff like that.
Wow. I'm not quite sure how to follow that.
2 months in a row, Kyle.
it's-
2 months
Sorry,
in a
sorry.
row.
It's totally
Sorry.
true, though. It's totally true. Totally true.
It's all true.
Yeah, yeah. The acting in both of these movies is serviceable. It's not really necessarily about that. These are both just kind of silly action movies, and it's more about, the predicaments that the characters find themselves in than the actual, their responses to them. Yeah. And I think it would have been really interesting. I seem to recall when Face Off first came out, there was some talk about how it was so cool that John Travolta and Nick Cage were kind of acting like each other for this movie. And that there was a lot of talk about it and how well they did that. But upon rewatching it, I feel like no, they didn't really. They didn't really. It didn't really seem like Nick Cage changed from Castor Troy to Sean Archer. Is it Sean? It didn't really seem like he went through that huge transformation, or that it was like the interesting part of that to me is that it's like one character trying to be a different one, because all of a sudden he's actually Sean Archer, but he has to try to pretend to be Castor Troy in certain situations, and he's struggling with that, and I didn't feel like there was that kind of nuance to the performances. It was just Nick Cage going crazy over the top, and John Travolta trying to follow suit, and really not being as good at being crazy over the top. As far as Speed, I don't know. It's in some ways it's it's a Keanu Reeves vehicle, but he's not all that interesting. I love Keanu Reeves. I think maybe not as an actor, but as a human being, I think he's a fantastic human being. But he doesn't really bring a lot of interest to the movie. He's I don't know. I guess the cute hero of the movie or whatever. But it's really, if you think about it, it's kind of an ensemble piece.
Gabe thinks he's cute.
Yeah. KISSING. Whatever. But it's really kind of an ensemble piece. It's kind of about all the characters on the bus, a little bit. And none of them are really, they don't really stand out from an acting standpoint to me.
Is it a road trip movie? Is that what you're trying to say?
What's that?
It's a road trip movie. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, you could put it that way, I guess. But road trip movies are usually about just a few people, right? It's just like a,
True.
Yeah. It's an incredibly local road trip movie.
Yes.
Right.
I see Keanu Reeves in this movie, especially compared to some of his later movies and a lot of the stuff he's done now, that this is a pretty young movie for him. He's, again, your stereotypical action figure inside of a movie. And, he does a fine job. And, Sandra Bullock is, I don't care how old she is or when she made this movie or how old she is now, I don't care. She's amazing. She may not, she has movies that are incredible. She's a great actress, and there are movies that she's like, it's okay. And again, she was young, and it is what it is. I don't see Keanu Reeves as being a terrible actor. I enjoy him in a lot of action movies. I just think that he was still kind of developing who he is as an actor. He has changed since Speed. I wouldn't say like so dramatically. You're like, whoa, he's become the sensational actor. But there is some peak going on with him as an actor in general. Face Off, I believe I heard the same about that. The performances by both John Travolta and Nicolas Cage were so incredible because they actually took on the other actor and they did it so well. And I maybe just didn't realize it when I first saw it, but watching it this time, I really honed in on that. And that's not true at all. Like they're just weird, crazy, trying to act like, one that's not crazy and one that is. And then it just turns out that John Travolta ends up acting crazy anyways. And it's just so, there's one scene where I was like, is this like still the movie? Because he's like, his hair's all messed up and he's like, well, I don't know what do you think? And I'm just like, what is happening? Like it just, I don't know. It just seemed very fumbled. And
it was inconsistent. I think there were parts.
Maybe that's what I'm looking for.
There are a couple of parts where I felt like you could kind of get a glimmer of what they were doing. There's a couple of parts where John Travolta kind of gets the crazy Nick Cage, and Nick Cage kind of gets the more subdued John Travolta stuff. But it was inconsistent, And then as soon as it stopped, you're just like, dang it, they were so close, they were doing it. And and it didn't happen. And I think, and as far as Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, I mean, I thought they had enough chemistry. I don't really know they had a lot, but enough to get through the movie and make people, want to keep watching it. It's kind of a probably newer action classic film, but I don't know if there's any actor out there that has so much self-awareness and so carefully pitted his career movie to movie than Keanu Reeves. He learned very early on the benefits of making bad movies over making good ones, and recently he's just making all the right choices, it seems like, and he's bound and determined to stick around and make movies for the right reasons. So, but I like Matrix 4, so I'm sure majority of people would be pissed off about that. Some people did not. So,
but in that comparison, I think one of his best characters so far that he has played is John Wick. He absolutely, to me, feels like he was made for that role, and I love him in John Wick.
I haven't seen any of the John Wick movies. Can you believe that shit?
Oh, yeah.
I have them, but I just have never sat down and watched them.
Oh yeah, when the fourth one comes out, I will front row. Like, they're incredible. It's so well done. Anyways,
and the first, like a lot of those series, the first one is, to me, the first one is still the best, and definitely worth watching. And he has the ultimate motivation to go around and like murder everybody.
Well, but this is kind of where I was going. It's very obvious that Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, they were relatively younger in their careers, and you can see where they developed, and they made this, movie it's fun to watch. Speed is absolutely fun to watch. Like Kyle said, they're not going to win an Oscar. They're not walking up on stage for this amazing actor performance that made you go, oh my God, I believed every second of it. We watched a fun movie with some pretty good acting. Face Off was just, it felt like a train wreck. Like, there was just so many, one scene to the next was just so baffling. And I just don't know if it was just the difference between Nick Cage and, I don't know. It was just so hard.
I think here's the thing. I think when you go in to watch a movie like Face Off, it's about a movie about two guys that switch faces. There's a certain level.
I'm okay with that. You
have to be like, I got to remember that this is just a movie about guys who switch faces.
I am okay with the suspension of disbelief, but if the suspension of disbelief gets ripped out from underneath me, I get beaten with it, and then someone builds me a cage, puts me inside of it, and says, I'm John Travolta now, I'm not going to be very much involved in this movie. I'm okay with the concept. I'm not okay with the fact that they have really bad performances.
That's the execution that really hurts.
Yes!
I went out of this movie saying 2 actors gave 4 bad performances in this film.
Beautiful.
And that's really how I felt about it afterwards. I was like, oh my God, this is insane. And I know that there's like a quirky thing to like about Nick Cage, like, oh, he's so unhinged and there's no one like him. But there are times when he does it where you feel like you're being assaulted or you're being taken advantage of. You're like, this is not art anymore. This is going to a Fish concert. I'm paying to watch you fuck around. And I do not appreciate it. Like, you are not taking this seriously or trying at all. You're off your goddamn meds. And I don't enjoy that. Like, I enjoy it in a good movie. If you gave me a competent film with Nick Cage doing that, I can find some joy in it. When your movie sucked from start to finish and Nick Cage is prancing around, lighting everything on fire in front of him, I'm not enjoying this. Although I will say the stunts looked crazy dangerous. We'll get to that later. But yeah.
I saw that there was a part where is John Travolta forgot that he was supposed to be doing Nick Cage and not Jim Carrey when he does the whole interception. Now our side's got the ball.
Oh my God! Yeah,
that's Jim Carrey, dude. That is not Nicolas Cage.
It is. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Smoking.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys ready to vote?
Yes.
All right.
Sure.
Kyle.
I think Face Off should be disbarred from ever being talked about as a movie that contains acting. I will vote for Speed.
I just have a quick question, Kyle. So far,
Sure.
Why this is your birthday month, and you
Yes,
get to
yes,
choose.
I chose these
you
movies.
chose these two movies.
Correct, I did. You're right.
Why?
Yeah, you're right. I wanted to do this. I wanted to make you sit through my existential crisis. No.
Had
I'm
you
having
seen
a
Face Off before?
Yeah, I'm having a great
Yes.
time. I don't.
Yes, I've seen Face Off. Okay, so here's the story. I saw Face Off a long time ago when Face Off was kind of like a relevant movie to watch, right? When it was newer. And I've seen Speed probably 20 times. And I guess I was just a different person and had a different view on movies and art and all of that when I watched Face Off. Because I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. It was really stupid, but it was kind of fun and the action's fun. But then when I watched this movie, something about it just rubbed me the wrong way, where I'm like, this is like getting caught in a pyramid scheme. Some people sat you down and they're like, hey, we got a movie to make for you. You're going to love it. It's got Nick Cage. It's got this. And then they got the check from the studios and they fucked off with all the money. They didn't actually give you anything. Because I was like, I'm just being taken advantage of. For 2.5 hours, I have to watch these guys fail at their jobs.
Explosions cost money, Kyle. Explosions
Oh, I
cost
know
money.
that. Well, that's obviously where all the money went, not in acting classes. But like,
All
if
right.
you went to,
All right.
oh, sorry.
All right.
Hold on, I got one more
Keep
thing.
going. I love it.
If you went to go watch a road crew build a highway and they built a subway station underneath and put a submarine in it, you'd go, what the fuck? They're bad at their jobs. That's what watching Face Off is.
Andrew. I think I already know where Andrew's leaning.
Oh my god.
You just killed Andrew.
Sorry.
I'm gonna give 50 points to Speed. Can I do that?
I give the 20 points originally in the script for Speed. In what would have been the worst movie ever made.
Gabe.
Unless it goes 19 miles an hour.
Gabe.
Jeez. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one because there's not great acting in either. It's voting for the least worst. So I'm gonna go with Speed.
All right. And Tom.
I'm going with Face Off because they did more with less.
There's more acting in Face Off. That's right.
Thank you. I'm going quantity, not quality.
Yeah, you're definitely going quantity over quality.
Face Off was originally written in 1990. The script was first optioned by producer Joel Silver before falling into the lap of Michael Douglas, who the screenwriters fervently hoped would star in it alongside Harrison Ford.
What?
Instead,
What?
Michael Douglas and Harrison Ford?
Yep.
That would have been good.
Instead,
Actually,
Douglas
it could have been kind of cool.
Instead, Douglas took over as executive producer. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were in mind to play the lead roles.
Oh my God, everything.
When John Woo was brought in to direct, he decided that John Travolta and Nicolas Cage would be more suited to the roles.
Sylvester Stallone and Schwarzenegger couldn't have done it.
There's a 1.5 foot difference between them.
Well, yeah, there's that, and then there's also the voice. Like, it would not. There's no way. Yeah.
Yeah, could you imagine?
God, though.
Yeah, could you
The
imagine
scene-
like
Stallone trying to
swapping
do
voices?
Schwarzenegger's voice? That would be
Stallone-
brilliant.
Schwarzenegger.
The scenes where the chips go bad and their real voice happens, and you hear Sylvester Stallone's voice coming out of Schwarzenegger's mouth. Oh my God.
We need to do
So
this.
much better.
How can we do
So
this?
much better.
Guys go cry around here. I can eat a peach all day.
This needs to happen.
Yeah, now I want to see it.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's so fucking good.
20th Century Fox executives weren't convinced that Keanu Reeves had enough star clout to front the film, insisting a big-name actress should star alongside him. Jean de Bont refused. Fox relented to his casting of Sandra Bullock with Reeves only 2 weeks before shooting began. Sandy B actually learned to drive a bus, passing her test on her first attempt.
Oh.
Wow, cool.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, they made the right choice by casting, I don't know, maybe the most likable actress of the last
Yes.
20 years
Agreed.
that everybody seems to like, It's a
Agreed.
pretty good choice.
All right, let's move on to our third round, directing.
So John Woo, he has done a lot of stunt work, training, fighting, those type of things. He must not be able to do those things when he's directing, because the action sequences were, just in Face Off. There were moments now, and I'm getting past even like the 90s had their problems with the gun sounds and shooting and things like I'm even getting past all that because that was a restriction. There was just so much calamity going on all the time. It just never felt tight. There was always just sloppiness going on. Now, with that being said, there are some very good scenes. For example, the boat scene at the end there's just a lot going on, and then it climaxes with the big explosion and guys flying, and like I can't even imagine what it took for them to do that at the time. As I was about to mention, that it was really, however, very obvious that it wasn't John Travolta or Nicolas Cage. By the way, those two stuntmen were not even close.
But it's
like,
wow, they don't even look.
No.
Yeah. The only other movie to do this with stuntmen is Spaceballs, and they did it on purpose. The amount of stuntmen in this movie you see that are obviously stuntmen, it's crazy.
I will say that John Woo was really good at just kind of starting the action and never letting it up. And I mean, this movie just kind of moves, and he basically just does one crazy scene after another crazy scene after another crazy scene, and he just keeps doing it. Like there's very, very few moments of slowdown. So I got to give him credit for that, because I mean it's like getting on a locomotive and you slowly get up there, but then once you get to speed, it's like, and that is not a pun for the other movie. So yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. So Jean Debonnet, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Jan de Bont?
Jan de Bont.
Oh, is it Jan de Bont? Yeah. Wow,
You've both been saying it wrong.
Shit, I am sorry. Jan de Bont.
Once again, Kyle is right.
Oh no. This is a worrying
No
trend.
pressure. No pressure, Kyle. But
Now,
you must always be right.
Jan de Bont, thank you, Kyle, for correcting me. Doing Speed. I once again, that movie has like its pure pockets. It kind of starts off with this really intense, the elevator scenes and all the moments, and we try to get everything up, and then we see that Keanu Reeves is kind of the smart guy and he's figuring stuff out, and it's all up, and then we have this moment where we're trying to do character development, I think, where we're trying to get some camaraderie between the Keanu Reeves and I can't think of his name, Jeff
Daniels.
Jeff Daniels. They're trying to get some camaraderie between them, and and then we go immediately right back to the bus explodes and we start our adventure, and that adventure is just nonstop as we go. And he does a good job of keeping that pace. Now I will say that he made Speed 2. I don't know if anybody's seen Speed 2 or not.
Cruise Control?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not as good as the first, I'll tell you that much. But I will say that Juan has made probably one of my favorite movies from the 90s, which was Twister. And I enjoyed that movie. It has the same kind of spikes of intensity. It goes up and it comes down. It goes up and comes down. So there's some consistency with that. But, Speed starts kind of on a high note and then kind of trickles off at the end. But you got to give him credit for trying to figure out that whole subway car. And I know there was miniatures involved and everything else, but we can get into more of that with overall. But I mean, that would be a crazy, we talk about what the director envisions for doing these fantastical explosions and fight scenes and stuff. I think would be quite the thing to be able to come up with and shoot, especially, again, we're in the 90s, cameras, technology. I mean, that would have been a massive undertaking for anybody to, come up with. So, got to give them credits for that. So I don't know, throw out your directorial hoot and hollers.
So many explosions.
So many.
Yeah.
Like, what was
All
on
around.
that police boat?
Deal.
Was it like, were they like hauling C4 evidence back?
Yep.
And just like,
Yes, obviously. Yeah.
we found some kids with some jet skis made out of C4, so we're just going to take them. Oh my God, we just got hit and we exploded.
Yep.
I don't know where all these explosions. I wonder. I'm curious as to how much MythBusters has like ruined these movies a little bit for us, where you're just kind of like, oh no, they tried that. It doesn't blow up like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't blow up. Yeah, I think of John Woo as kind of Michael Bayesian. He's the Asian
Okay,
version.
all right. Hold on now.
Oh, you're gonna get Mike.
And John Woo movies are they're interesting in that he has his like style, his kind of trademarks. And while on one hand maybe they're kind of fun and kind of cool, he just has never really strayed very far from those trademarks. All the doves and the I don't know, shooting more bullets than could ever be contained in a single clip, and
cry, baby.
flying through the air while you're shooting and never hitting anything, and sparks and all that. It's kind of like every John Woo movie is kind of like that. And we did a couple before, didn't we? Did we? We
Yes,
did
we've
the
done
Killer
Hard Boiled and the Killer
Hard-Boiled.
and Hard Target.
And he's done Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah, Mission Impossible 2, which is kind of the same thing. I mean, there's
Broken Arrow.
fucking doves or birds in that too, and it's like,
Paycheck.
it's on one hand it's kind of fun, but I feel like he's never really evolved. That's what it is in every movie. So you know what to expect in a John Woo movie. You expect over the top gunplay with doves flying around, and it kind of it's like
motion.
Yes, and that's kind of all it really has ever evolved to. Now every once in a while he'll hit upon a good story or a good character or something, and then it transcends those trademarks. But I think in this case with Face Off, it did not.
Well, and he left Hollywood, didn't he? Both of these guys have left Hollywood.
Yes.
And, that, and I don't know if it's not being able to reproduce that level of success or what, but
I think it's because the studio gets involved. But I actually I think I have some trivia about one of these movies and studio involvement. But
now,
I think it's because studio gets involved so much with them, because as a John Woo fan, when he came over to the U.S., I'm like, awesome, great. We're going to get, like action star, our action stars in his movies. And we did, but they seemed so toned down and generalized when he was working here in the States. And I just felt like it neutered him, right? Like, because I'd go to a John Woo movie to see over the top gunfights, doves, and slow motion. Like, that's why you go see John Woo. Because he's a master at it. Like, he is a ballet. It's a ballet of death. So I'll stop. Continue.
It's annoying when the people in charge like butt in. I get what you're saying.
Noted, Tom. Noted.
I just didn't want the irony to slip by.
Slow motion, guns in both hands, characters being alerted by reflections, Mexican standoffs, one character always throwing a gun to another character, and doves. Those are his top 6
Always.
things that he always does in a movie.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you
and
know,
they're
I just
in
feel
every
like,
one of his movies.
yeah, I just feel like a director could have evolved from that, or evolved those things a little bit, or maybe been kind of self-aware enough to change them. Like, okay, people are going to expect these things. They're going to expect the doves. They're going to expect the two-handed gunplay.
Michael
Or
Bay.
what? But let's like maybe change it up a little bit. Let's give him that, but with a twist or something. But he just doesn't seem self-aware enough to do that. It's just always kind of the same thing. You know, and like I said, I think sometimes he has a good story or good characters, and that they transcend that. I really like Hard Boiled and The Killer. I enjoy those, but Face Off just didn't work for me.
I think your comparison to a Michael Bay type director, where we have expectations for the director and what he does and how he does them, and that's I'm not Michael Bay. Why do we go to Michael Bay movies? Hot models that can act, that are there just to look scantily clad and get nice ass shots. Fantastical explosions and fight scenes that potentially involve some science fiction, something, potentially robots or whatnot, that is just amazing visually to look at, that is just so unbelievable.
360-degree camera.
And 360-degree cameras, and then the military. Those are some really big things from Michael Bay. Car chases, yeah. He has very, very specific points that he hits in his movies, and we come to expect those, but we still go to the movies. We'll still go watch a Michael Bay movie.
No, you might. So, here's the thing. I need directors to grow. I
Agreed.
I need directors to kind of move outside their comfort zone. But, I mean, that's me. Spielberg's been criticized a lot in the last 20 years for some of the moves he's made. Yep. But, I think, I like watching somebody evolve and come into that. So one thing I want to touch on real quick. I want to talk about These Bad Boys. You guys can't see this, but this is a Pelican case. This is a Pelican hard case.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the people at Pelican need to embrace filmmakers that use them and terrorists, because it's the official hard case of terrorists everywhere. Like, whenever you watch a movie, they come out with these plastic hard briefcases.
I was like, where are you going with this? No, I know what you're saying now.
Yeah, so at the beginning of Face Off, it comes out with the Pelican case, and I was like, yeah. That's a good one. Was that the 14? What's that? The 1420? Is that the 1440?
Even bad guys forget their passcode to disarm their own bomb.
Yeah.
I guess.
And then I've got a criticism about Speed, and nobody talks about this. I can't believe we haven't mentioned it yet. There are moments in that movie where that bus is not going 50 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
No one ever talks
about the overall.
But there's points where it's going like 25, maybe 30, but it is not going 50. And it gets a pass. And I think I'm here to pull the curtain back. Come on. There's no way. When it's going around the curb and like knocking down the fence post, it's not going 50.
I was going to talk about some of that in overall. So I'm not going to let it off the hook, Tom.
That's fine.
I'll tell you, too, as much as we talk about, Speed being better written, more thought out movie, they literally, well, I know you haven't, but the sane ones in the room have.
Yeah.
They literally do the same gag twice. Not many movies do that, but they're like, there's a curve, we're going to jump it. There's a hole, we're going to jump it. They just literally were like, we don't know how to end this movie. Let's do the same thing we did earlier.
Yeah.
And that is so lazy.
The track is out. It's like, what?
That is so, I know. The amount of construction, and maybe this is like a little inside joke, like we live in Hollywood and there's always construction. It's terrible. Yes. But Jesus Christ, what is going on?
They're building a new train station.
Making that gag. I know, but don't make that gag over and over again. You have to know that looks bad and it looks lazy.
Well, so are the construction workers, according to the police officers.
Oh my God. Okay, so I got to mention something I never noticed. I bet I've seen Speed 20 times, but I've never noticed this. the end where they jump that train through the barrier.
Yep.
There, the construction worker down there swinging the hammer obviously knows what's up and something's about to come through it. And he is swinging that hammer so gingerly at the edge of his reach because he knows a giant fucking subway train is going to come through that wall. And it is shocking when you look at it. You're like, whoa, that is a man who knows a train is about to fly out of that train because he is so far away from it and looks scared as hell.
Or he could be a city worker.
Oh my God, it's so funny. But yeah, one of the things I got to say about Face Off is the stunts in it, despite the fact that you see the stunt workers constantly and they don't look anything like the actors, the stunts look legitimately terrifying and crazy dangerous at some points.
Yep.
Whether you think that's good or bad is up to you, but damn, some of them are scary looking.
And there's, the other thing too, I mean, Speed's almost, oh my God, 30 years old. It's interesting how some of the stunts in Speed even are like, I still don't know how they did the rolling cart underneath the bus. I mean, there's some shots in there where it's like, I don't even know how they did this because that's definitely Keanu on that thing. So
that made me
it is
think
Keanu.
of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Well,
yeah,
and in the 90s, they don't have the CG replacement that we have to be able to composite some of that stuff. So, like, there are actually people in a lot of those scenes that are actually throwing themselves X, Y, or Z.
It was yeah. I mean, the stunts, I think, and both movies did a great job, I thought.
All right, guys. You
Yep.
got to stop it there. Let's put it to a vote. Andrew.
We would have had more time if Mike wouldn't have gotten all ruffled.
What's your vote, Andrew?
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go super, super, super fast with Speed.
Gabe.
Yes, Speed.
Tom.
The bus wasn't going 50. Face Off.
Kyle.
I'm going to give Tom one in this category. Yeah, I'll go with Face Off, sure.
I am not a Girl Scout. I am not selling Face Off cookies. You don't need to give me anything. But I appreciate it. Thank you for your patronage.
Rennie Harlan, Quentin Tarantino, and John McTiernan were offered the chances to direct Speed, but turned it down. Eventually, it was decided that a newcomer should direct, and the producers picked Jean de Bont, who had been in charge of cinematography for Die Hard, The Hunt for Red October, two movies directed by John McTiernan. The scene of Adam listening to Over the Rainbow on his portable headphones was John Woo's idea and not part of the original script. Paramount Pictures refused to finance the extra scenes, and John Woo had to use his own money to make that happen. He was later paid back as the film turned out to be profitable.
Oh my God.
Are you feeling a little two-faced right now, Kyle? With your vote.
All right.
Yeah, I feel bad for
fourth and final round.
Seems like people just took advantage of him.
Overall.
Upon seeing Speed again, I was actually surprised at how much I enjoyed it. I thought it was just going to be a big dumb action, and it is mostly. But one of the things I didn't really get to touch on in the last category is the pacing of the movie, and I feel like the pacing of Speed is really pretty good. It kind of gets going and it never lets up. Really, it's the editing is tight, and the pacing is good, and I was very happily surprised with that. And Kyle may make a note of this. I did watch this with Jill, and there are very few movies. There are very few movies that she cares to watch with me. You know, the movies we're doing on the podcast. But this is one that she was like, okay, yeah, sure. Maybe because of Keanu Reeves, I don't know. Sandra Bullock, maybe. I don't know. But she watched it with me, and it was kind of funny to watch her because she was like on the edge of her seat. There were times, and I know she's seen it before. And so she was like kind of on the edge of her seat during some of the scenes, and she's like, oh, and she's like reacting, to these scenes. And so I was very actually happily surprised with overall how well Speed has aged, and how entertaining it still is. You know, we're so spoiled. We see, one of the things that really ages a movie, I think, is the technology. You see the technology in the movie, and it's a little bit laughable. I was honestly surprised that they had cell phones, that anybody had cell phones at the time, And it certainly wasn't the kind of thing where everybody had cell phones. A handful of characters did. But in spite of that, it aged pretty well, and I found it very enjoying to watch. Face Off, I'm not. It aged okay too, I guess, but and I enjoyed it. It was fun to watch, but I was also kind of like Kyle. I was a little bit disgusted with some of the over the topness. It was just a little too over the top at times. Yeah, I don't know. I think we talk a lot about it, rewatchability, and I think I would watch Speed at any time. If Speed was on TV, I would watch it, no problem. Face Off, yeah, I'd probably watch it, but I might walk away and do something else too. I don't know. But one other thing, maybe this will lead into someone else's comments. I actually kind of enjoyed the music in Speed. I thought the music was actually okay. It had a really nice action movie feel to it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it's memorable. I know it whenever I hear it.
So
yeah, it was good. Yeah, I think you're right. Speed. I think part of the reason Speed holds up is because it's so simple, right? It doesn't have those things that immediately give it away. Obviously, it's a '90s action film, but it doesn't have those things that immediately date it, as much as, say, Face Off does to me. Again, I'll say my favorite thing about Face Off was the stunts by far, and they really are really crazy and really well done. So I think if you're really into stunt work, Face Off is a movie you should watch, because it's just some of the things that stunt people do are pretty crazy. At the end when they crash the boats, those dudes are really launched in the air quite a long way and just land on the beach. So I think that was pretty cool. But other than that, I don't have a lot of redeeming qualities for Face Off, other than, Face Off is what The Rock could have been if they didn't have like a good actor and a better story in it. I just worry about that because, you can see Nick Cage kind of on the edge in that movie going towards this kind of stuff. You just got to be careful. But I don't understand. I don't think the world ever will understand Nick Cage as an actor. I think he's unknowable, like the great mysteries of space. Where do we come from? What are we here for? What lies beyond the edge of the universe? Why does Nick Cage act like that? Those will be the things that plague humanity for years to come, and we'll still be studying it when we're among the stars.
Some of those we may be able to solve.
Yeah, some of those we will be able to solve, right? Why Nick Cage does what Nick Cage does, I think will be the next, what's the sound of one hand clapping? Philosophers will study that in the future and use it as a basis to get people's brains working.
The consistent enigma.
Yes, it is. He is the human equivalent of rolling 100-sided dice before you watch a movie, as if you have no idea going into it what you're going to get. But entertaining for some bits and pieces here and there, but did not find this movie very entertaining at all. But I'll quit being a bummer and bringing everything down. I still enjoyed watching these movies more than Time Traveler's Wife, because there was a lot less time travel sex predators. But I think that's damning the movie with faint praise.
I will say I really thought the idea of magnetic system for prisoners was a pretty damn good idea, and I don't know why we haven't done that yet.
I'd probably Cruel Unusual Punishment laws.
What?
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be it. And putting giant metal boots on their feet and hoping they don't hurt each other.
So out of everything else that we've talked about, the one thing I do want to talk about that Tom so graciously brought up, so that the bus not being able to go 50 miles an hour, it's more than just the curves. When they're actually plowing through traffic and they show that they get right down to 50 and then they go back up. So based on the size of the bus and the speed and power behind a bus and the parked cars and the other cars that were actually in motion, physics takes over, and there is no way that bus was still going 50 miles an hour. That bus ended when they went through downtown traffic. That movie is over. Everyone is now dead. But that doesn't make a very fun movie. But there's no way that happened. And that one's, one of those that I look at as, over analyzing. I mean, we could talk about the jump, the highway jump on a bus. Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
The bus somehow, first of all, off of a highway launches up.
Right.
And so it's at an angle,
Good
and
stuff.
that's nope. The mount, just no. But it makes for neat cinematography and fun action adventure kind of thing. But nope. So and with Face Off, I mean, we're not even getting into the science behind it, because I mean that was just part of the universe that they're in. And so that's where I was saying before that there has to be some suspension of disbelief that we live in this world, and they had the technology to remove two people's faces, swap them, have them perfectly contoured with their cool 3D printed skins and things, and their body doesn't reject it. They have 0 scars on their face from doing the face transplant itself. They can adjust the bodies, and I guess the giggle berries and stuff can all get changed so they all appear like the other person. It's amazing what they can do these days. So I can pass up all of that because that's just part of the universe. But Speed at least attempted to be realistic in the sense of that you could put a bomb on a bus and it would explode, and these would be bad things in a lot of the situations. And there is some fantastical stuff, but the jump is what always got. I was like, no way. There's no way that bus ever made that. Anyways, I'll be quiet about ruining the physics behind the movie. But by the way, the plane at the end, does everyone like? Did anyone have a problem that the bus hits like the passenger door of the plane and makes the plane explode? Or is that cool? Or okay?
I mean, in action movies, everything is loaded with that.
Everything is,
but it was the bus blowing up, not the plane blowing up, that caused the plane to blow up.
Why did the bus blow up?
Because it went below 50.
It went below 50 when it crashed.
Yeah,
but there's definitely a explosion from the plane that comes off, and I mean it's really it's fine. Again, totally fine. I also think that it's really cool that back in the 90s that we could override UHF as easily as they do.
Yeah,
with the camera, because I was like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So
from some just random news truck.
Right. So overall, I mean, both movies, I would say, I went in saying, yeah, I've seen these movies before. Again, I think, as Kyle said, I think this maybe is an age thing. I don't remember Face Off being so terrible, I guess, or just holy buckets, kind of a train wreck than I did when I watched it for this again. And it's been a few years since I've seen it. I've seen Speed 50 plus times. Nobody? Are you serious?
At least. Yeah,
wow.
Minimum. Has to be minimum.
You guys must be bored.
Oh, I get the joke. Okay. I legitimately thought you might have watched it 50 times.
No, it's okay. Anyways, so
Hey, Andrew. I know that I've steered us off topic a lot tonight, so I'm going to keep doing it. Have you ever done a 23andMe or like an Ancestry?
I have not.
Okay, I'd be interested to see what percentage of your ancestry is Snidely Whiplash's dog Muttley, because there you go. When you laugh, you sound just like that cartoon character.
Well, I get a lot of the woohoo, sounding like the Iowa lottery guy.
Yeah. It's uncanny to me because I watched those so much when I was a kid, and every time you laugh, I just go, "Oh my gosh, he sounds so much like Muttley," which is admittedly a deep cut. Snidely Whiplash's dog is. Don't hold up 3 fingers at me, Mike.
Yeah, I'll hold up this.
You and your West Side. Don't rep your crew over here.
So, I've always, been. I know my ancestry, but I've never done a DNA test. If that helps, so okay. maybe we'll find out that actually is where
we'll see
where this magic comes from.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Kai.
No. I'm taking us off topic again. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think one of the things that I was unsatisfied with Speed was how, the villain meets his end, being decapitated by that light in the subway. I found that unsatisfying somehow, and just kind of, it's like I feel like there could have been a better end to that. Situation. I don't know.
Well, that point stuck out to me because I'm watching a 60-year-old Dennis Hopper fight like a 25-year-old Keanu Reeves.
Right. Yeah. Good luck with that.
And he's kicking his ass.
A thumb.
Okay, but
he's kicking his ass.
To be fair, he's holding the detonator, so he is trying
that too at the same time.
He's trying to, you can't shoot him. He'll let go. There's a lot, I think that's where they're going with that belief, because they do this a lot with bombers and such in movies that hold detonators that the main character doesn't want to kill or hurt the villain, and so they kind of go easy on them because they're afraid they're going to drop it and all this, and so that was their shtick, I think. The decapitation is weird. It seems like they were like, I don't know what to do with him. How do we end the fight?
I think they just wanted a definitive end to it,
Sure.
Because was twice they thought he was dead anyway.
Dead. Yep.
So
this was just proof.
We just want. Even throwing someone off a building, maybe he survived, but this is like, all right, he's definitely gone. So. Yeah,
and that's fair. They have to. They probably didn't even know they were going to try and make a second one at this point. So the returning villain.
I haven't seen Speed 2 because I looked at it and I was like, ooh, boats on water going too fast. Like, there's a lot less shit to hit on the water. So
no, it's not. It's on a cruise ship, by the way, Tom. So that tells you the speed of Speed 2.
I don't know. I just watched Twister.
Let's replace Keanu Reeves with Jason Patrick. What could go wrong?
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
It's a cruise liner that is speeding on a collision course to a gigantic oil tanker. That is the premise of Speed 2.
Correct.
Speeding towards an oil tanker, a cruise ship.
You guys bring up the music for Speed, and
Mike's bringing us back.
Every time I hear it, I think of Bad Boys, because Mark Mencia did both and only did them a year apart. So if you listen to both, they're very similar. But yeah, Mark Mencia did like Twister, Con Air. He did do Speed 2, Cruise Control. So he was he did Training Day, and he was kind of the guy back in the 90s for action music for your score.
I mean,
dun 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 dun.
Oh my God.
Tom,
that's a spot on impression.
Speed is like 7.3, and Speed 2 is a 3.9. If that tells you the progression.
I've never seen Speed 2.
I don't feel I'm missing out on anything here. I did like Face Off, so who knows?
All right, let's put it to a vote. Gabe?
Yeah, Speed.
Tom?
Okay, I know this is kind of against conventional wisdom, but I'm actually Speed is the better movie. Is better than the sum of its parts. So, in spite of my last 3 votes, I'm going to vote for Speed because it is the better overall movie. It just doesn't have better acting, directing, or writing.
Bullshit.
Kyle?
If Tom lies over 50 times in an episode, we explode. So, boom, everybody. But, yes, Speed. Speed is the better movie. I vote for Speed.
All right, Andrew?
We'll speed through this and we'll go for the Speed.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you. Already had it down. Already had it down. Unlike John Woo's previous U.S. movies, Hard Target, Broken Arrow, and his later Mission Impossible 2, this had little to no studio interference, and the only scene the MPAA demanded to be cut was the opening assassination scene where Sean Archer's son is killed.
Is that why that was cut so weird?
Yep. They had to cut around it.
Because it was like, did he get shot? Like,
yeah, I didn't even pick up on that until he was on the ground. I'm like, wait, what?
But in scenes like in situations like that, that's kind of like the chaos of like what just happened, like something bad. So, and that being said, it delivered.
The crew underestimated the distance the bus would travel when filming the jump, and multiple cameras ended up destroyed as a result of on the first take. Jean de Bont phoned Panavision and asked them to send any old cameras they had lying around, so long as they had an anamorphic lens, and promised they would be placed much further back this time, quote unquote.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, so I wanted to go back real quick with the jump. The jump was actually added by Jean de Bont when he was driving by an unfinished interstate section. So he added that to the film. And originally everything was supposed to happen on the bus. There was never supposed to be a scene with the subway. The studio wanted something. They didn't want everything to happen on the bus. And Jean de Bont even said, he goes, everything happens on the bus. How boring. So the studio said, hey, let's redo this third act. So that's where we get the subway and the whole jumping a subway train. Because we jumped a bus, we might as well jump a subway train.
You know, and I've seen some behind the scenes stuff of the models and everything they did to make that happen, and it's really impressive.
Yeah, you really have to look for that model work, but they did such a good blending of the actual guys running, in front of it, and it looked really good. But actually, they used a bus and made it look like a subway car for the jump.
Nice.
Yeah. Read that too. I read a lot of trivia about both of these films.
That is ironic.
Don't you think?
Interesting.
One thing we didn't mention during the
we don't care, Gabe.
It might. I know you don't, but I'm going to say it anyway. You son of a bitch. One thing, it might have been actually kind of cool if the whole movie were on the bus, and
at 20 miles an hour.
Great directors, they're. Let's see. There's at least one great director who has done that more than once, where the entire movie takes place in one location, a single location, and it's more about the story and the characters than the location.
But that's supposed to be an action movie.
Lifeboat.
I want to know what's
Did you just say Lifeboat?
Tom's got it. Lifeboat.
Lifeboat.
Oh,
the
yeah.
incident with and that's got Martin Sheen.
Stagecoach.
Was the idea that the movie was going to be called Slow Bus, or like what?
Yeah, what were they going to call it?
I don't know.
Don't speed.
Don't speed.
I'm pretty sure Keanu Reeves could run 20 miles an hour outside the bus.
I'm going to call it 20.
Yeah,
I think
Alfred Hitchcock did it
the
more than once. What were you gonna say? Mike?
Yeah, he did The Room, right?
Room.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rope.
Room takes rope. Yeah, rope.
Rope. That's right.
Yeah,
not
Lifeboat
The Room.
and Rope.
Although there is a brief scene at the beginning that doesn't take place in the room, but
Right.
Well,
almost all of it.
What was the Quentin Tarantino one? Oh my God, where they're in the cabin.
Oh, Hateful
Hateful
Eight.
Eight.
Hateful
The
Eight.
Hateful Eight.
Yeah,
That
most of it
place.
takes place in a single location. Yeah.
Yeah, once they all get there, that entire movie is inside of that cabin.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's an artificial constraint. Like saying that this movie won't be good if it only takes place in one location. A well-written, well-acted movie can definitely
true.
do that, and some of the most famous movies of all time have
And,
done that.
to be honest, as many times as I watched Speed, when I was younger, watching it this time, I could have swore that they actually had a scene in there where the gas truck pulls up and starts filling the bus up. Like total not a Mandela effect. I just remembered it totally wrong.
Yeah, that's Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
other people have to
believe,
do
too.
it though. So I don't know if we can call it the Mandela effect.
I bet you ask around.
Okay, well, fun fact, I saw Speed with The Crow. I saw a double feature.
Ooh, that's a good '90s double feature.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
a good 90s double feature.
Hell yeah!
And if I remember right, we watched The Crow first because I think it was released first. And then Speed was the sneak preview.
Speed and Crow. Oh.
Okay, moving on. Tom, what's your recommendation for this month?
My recommendation is kind of outside the box here. I'm going to recommend everybody watch the Cuphead show on Netflix. It is in the original 1930s Fleischer style of animation. It's visually so much fun to watch, and the script and the voice acting is top notch. It's hilarious. It's one of my son's favorite video games, and so they got this series on Netflix that they turned it into an animated series, and it's just kind of hard, like how do you turn a video game into an animated series? But the episodes are only 12 minutes, and they got quote unquote renewed for a second season today, and so we're all very excited about that. But it's a really funny show. Even if you just have 12 minutes, just watch the first one and see if you really enjoy it. I have another suggestion, but I'm thinking someone may recommend it. So I don't know. Do everybody's, and then if I can do a quick second recommendation at the end, I'd like to. So it's more in line with what we did tonight.
All right. Kyle.
I'm going to recommend a movie that has nothing to do with any of these two movies. It's just one that I happen to. Sometimes I like to go down YouTube holes where I just start watching clips and then see what else it recommends, and I'll just follow it. And some scenes from this movie came up, and I go, "Oh my god, I forgot how much I love this movie." So I bought it on Amazon and watched it again, and that is The Big Short.
Oh, yeah.
A movie
Oh.
about the 2008 financial crisis, starring Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling and Christian Bale. There really is a crazy amount of talent in that movie. It's also one of the best written and acted and directed films I've seen in quite a long time after rewatching it. And as a unique style, and God, it's so enjoyable to make a movie about something that could be so dry and make it so damn entertaining is really a feat. So yeah, I recommend everybody watch The Big Short. It's fascinating.
All right. Thanks, Kyle. Andrew.
Yeah, I was trying to pick, some 90s action movies to kind of go along with this. And that was a struggle because there's probably two of my most favorite movies that came out of the 90s. So I'm going to be like Tom, and I'll only mention one of them right now, but I might throw in the second one just as a loophole in the end. But mine is starring also Keanu Reeves, and that's The Matrix. And I know a lot of people have lots of feels about the series and everything else, but I'm talking about the original Matrix, and not only what it did for storytelling, but the revolutionary of visual effects that movie invented and created and is still tried to be copied today. And it's such a fantastical film. and you could watch just The Matrix and feel good about yourself and not have to worry about the rest if you didn't want to. But The Matrix is one of my all-time 90s action flicks that came out that is just it's really good, and Keanu Reeves is in that, and you can see his growth in that one. So that's my recommendation.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. Gabe?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of with Andrew in that I was trying to stay on topic and pick an action movie from the 90s, and I struggled. I struggled, and honestly, I struggled in part because we've done how many episodes now, Mike?
132.
So that's well over 400 recommendations by all of our panelists. It's hard to keep up anymore. And I honestly don't remember if this has been recommended or not, but it's one of my favorite movies, The Professional. It somehow later got renamed to Leon.
That was the original name for it.
Yep.
Was it? Because
Yes.
I remember when I first saw it, it was just called The Professional.
Correct.
That's the French name, right?
Yeah, the French name is Leon the Professional. And that was
Yeah.
supposed to be the original title. But in the U.S., the studio said, no, we're just going to shorten it to The Professional.
And that's a movie I enjoy very much. I think there's great performances in it, and it's really kind of in some ways, strangely, a heartfelt movie for a movie about an assassin. And I don't know, has anyone recommended that before? I was afraid that maybe
I think we have. I'm pretty sure we have.
It's probably been done. And I'm trying to keep on topic. But I suppose I could have other recommendations too that aren't on topic. But that's the only one I could think of that we hadn't either, discussed already. The John Woo movies we discussed before, I really like, The Killer and Hard Boiled, but we had done those already. So.
And Natalie Portman's big breakout.
Yeah, she's fantastic in it. Uncomfortably
Gary Oldman.
good. In that movie.
Gary Oldman is so good in that movie.
And Gary Oldman.
Oldman. And that is a performance where he's really way over the top, especially for him, because he doesn't necessarily go that far over the top. He's
Correct.
like way over the top. Yeah. But it works.
Oh, it works. Fantastic.
He's great.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you trying to stay on topic and recommend something that goes along those lines. I know it's difficult. I'll let Tom and Andrew do their second recommendations after I'm done with mine. I actually just watched this yesterday, and I can't believe it took me this long to watch, but it is from 2021. It is directed by, I'm going to butcher these names, Isla Nysoler. And it stars Bob Odenkirk, Alexei Serbyakov, and Connie Nielsen, and it is called Nobody. Like, it reminded me of 90s action movies, and I loved every second of it. It's short, too. It's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it is so good. Like, you totally buy that he's just this regular Joe, and when that switch turns, he's great as, I'll kill all of you, Bob Odenkirk. Like, I loved it. I really enjoyed this movie. So check out Nobody if you haven't seen it already. I may have been one of the last people on Earth.
I haven't seen it yet, but I really wanted to.
And Christopher Lloyd is in it.
Yes, Christopher Lloyd is in it. And so is the RZA.
Yeah, it's really good. I would agree on it. I saw it and I was like,
man.
this will be interesting.
It is so much fun.
It's so much fun. It's way better than I thought it was going to be, and it's fantastic. Yeah,
it is. It is 90s action, and you can also see a little bit of John Wick in there. And
perfected.
Yes,
90s action. Yeah, it's good.
All right, Tom, what's your second recommendation for this month?
Fun, ridiculous action movies. Red Notice on Netflix is a blast. I know it's got bad reviews. I'm not I don't think it's justified. And it's one of the reviews I said it's Ryan Reynolds doing the Ryan Reynolds thing, and it's The Rock doing the Rock thing, and Gal Gadot doing the Gal Gadot thing.
Yeah,
it's so much fun, and it's the first movie to use a drone through its action scenes, and so you get these really cool dynamic shots and how they did it type thing. So I would really recommend Red Notice. Don't listen to the critics. It's fun.
It's really fun. I enjoyed it as well. Mine will be really quick.
Okay.
My other one that is really important for the 90s, or at least was really important for me watching, was The Fifth Element. That movie is so fantastically great and over the top and fun. And so,
Tom.
More Luc Besson.
Yes.
More
Luc
Besson.
Besson. Done in a fever dream.
Awesome.
The movie he thought up while he had a fever.
Correct.
Same as the Terminator with James Cameron.
Yes. Yep.
You got to get a fever and maybe come up with some good ideas.
Well, the only way you can fix a fever is more cowbell. Come on, Gabe. All the kids are saying more cowbell.
Cowbell.
Right.
All right. Let's poke the monkey and find out who won.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Your winner by decision is Speed!
This is for you, Kyle. 12-4 Speed.
Ooh.
It's not just for Kyle. It's for us and our listeners, too.
Yeah.
No, because I edit that out.
Oh!
We would appreciate it if you could leave us a review on whatever podcasting service you use. It helps us reach new listeners. If you like us, tell your friends. If you hate us, tell your enemies. You can contact us at cinesmack@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Just search Cinesmack. In April, we put our heels, dresses, and makeup on to try and make it in the world today as Mrs. Doubtfire and Tootsie square off in the ring. For Gabe, Tom, Kyle, Andrew, and myself, thanks for listening and go catch a flick. Hello, Cinesmacketeers, and welcome to bout number 132 of Cinesmack, the podcast about films by filmmakers. I am your host, Mike Keeler. Joining me tonight is our panel of award-winning judges. First, writer, actor, and director, Kyle. How do you feel about Cleveland? Fine.
The Mistake by the Lake. I'm responsible for my own orgasms.
Second, filmmaker and owner of One Genome Short Productions, Gabriel. Oh, you wicked, wicked monkey, Rowald.
My first day as a woman, and I'm getting hot flashes.
Third, filmmaker and owner of Arizona Inc. Studios, Andrew. That's a corncob Zumwalt.
Well, I hope you're up for a little competition. She's got a power tool in the bedroom, dear. It's her own personal jackhammer. She can break sidewalks with that thing. She uses it. The light stem, it's like a prison movie. Amazed she hasn't chipped her teeth.
Fourth, filmmaker and owner of Cheshire Moon Films, Tom. Oh, as I hold this cold meat, I'm reminded of Winston Haggis.
Yeah, I had 3 quotes picked out and they were taken. So thank you guys. That was awesome. Appreciate it. So I'll just wait.
All right.
For later.
All right. Let's poke the monkey, find out what we're talking about this month. Okay, well, I do have to say that I saw Mrs. Doubtfire first. It took a long time for me to see Tootsie. And after seeing Tootsie, I loved it. I don't know why it took me so long to see Tootsie, but I really enjoy both of these movies, so I can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. So let's start off with our first round, which is writing.
So, I think one of very obviously one of these movies really paved the way for the other one. I don't know if we would have Mrs. Doubtfire if there hadn't been Tootsie to come before it, and in a lot of ways, Tootsie, was a really quite the trailblazing film. Even by today's standards, it's definitely a movie that was way ahead of its time. And I think one of the things that I like about Tootsie is that there's actually, the story has more forward momentum than Mrs. Doubtfire, where Mrs. Doubtfire seems to have more of kind of like a series of interesting interactions with the characters. I think I've used the phrase before on the show, like it's a stepmom type situation where they're just like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if, wouldn't it be funny if? And Mrs. Doubtfire does it better than stepmom. But whereas Tootsie, I think, has it's the setup and the payoff is a lot better. It's both of these guys are put in very difficult circumstances, and they're desperate to get what they want, whether it's a career or just to be with his family. In Mrs. Doubtfire, so it's one of those movies where both of the movies are very much how far will they go to get what they want, and for me, I just feel like Tootsie works with that in a way that kind of moves the movie forward. The story does more than Mrs. Doubtfire. Mrs. Doubtfire gets there, but yeah.
If I could interject, speaking of going too far, you do know that tonight we're doing Face Off versus Speed, right?
You fucking dicks. You fucking assholes.
Fuck you.
Oh, no.
Oh
Tom,
my God.
I could just tell in your eyes that you were making sure.
Oh my God. I haven't seen Tootsie in like 30 years. Holy shit.
But you know what, Tom?
I was
you get
working.
writing. You
What?
get writing next month, and we're just going to recycle that.
Yeah, you don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
You assholes sat there and went, who wants writing? And you went ahead and take it. Did you
Oh
plan
my
that?
God, I was so glad that you were like, I'll take it.
Yeah, that was not planned, but it worked out perfect.
Oh my God.
You would stop by the time we did the quotes.
No. Nope, and I was too embarrassed to admit that I was wrong, so I was like rolling it with it. I pulled up Tootsie, and
the second I saw you started saying, well, I had 3 quotes, but they were all taken. I'm like, I got him.
you fucking asshole. Are you gonna put this in the show?
Oh yeah, at the end.
You fucking asshole.
As someone who's had this treatment before, it doesn't feel good, Tom. I apologize.
Here's the thing, Kyle. You don't deserve it. I totally deserve it.
Oh, no.
I earned this little trick.
This has been a test of the Southsider Studios podcast system. This was only a test. If this were a true lack of entertainment, your head would explode. Go to iTunes and subscribe to our feed. Just search Southsider Studios.
Hey, it is Ryan Seacrest. There's something so thrilling about playing Chumba Casino. Maybe it's the simple reminder that with a little luck, anything is possible. ChumbaCasino.com has hundreds of social casino-style games to choose from with new game releases each week. Play for free anytime, anywhere for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.